Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. At the head of the Prime Classic, Los Angeles Thieves have an awful lot to prove that their role change is actually going to work out. Octane's probably been their key underperformer so far this season. Karma reckons that he's still got an awful lot of potential, but certainly his Search and Destroy has been lacking. Meanwhile, Temp and Zuma debating who's the best player in the game is right now. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'll greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Plenty to dive into this evening. Firstly, this from Slash. Of course, the break has been way too long. This is, just generally a sentiment here from a lot of the pros. Why is, I don't really know, honestly, what's going on at this point. We're now on, the 27th of April, and it was, what, the 2nd or the 3rd of April or something, when they actually lifted the trophy, right, at Minnesota Major 2, so not really sure what's been going on since then. Of course, there's the Warzone event, which I'm sure you all enjoyed, but, thankfully, the Prime Classic is, of course, just around the corner, but that's the thing, he wants to compete again with the squad. This, of course, is the squad of 4 that Slasher and co Los Angeles Guerrillas are going with. Gunless is not there. Spart is going to be there. What that means for potential roster changes, we will only go and find out, I'm sure, over these coming months. Of course, after that, of course, we go straight into Major 3. It seems like some of the passes here have already been sold out, so the Bell Fan Zone or whatever, a lot of these tickets have already been sold out for the Toronto event. If you guys want to go, get the tickets now before they sell out, to be honest. So yeah, that's June 2nd through to the 5th, and then after that, it's not too long, I think, between Major 3 and Major 4, at least hopefully if they brought back the qualifiers by a little bit. Could probably look on the CDL schedule actually to find that one out if they've updated them for going forward as well. But let's talk about Los Angeles Thieves, because this is the team before. They're, well, sticking with this roster for now. There has been lots of talk, right? Last year, they made arguably way too many changes. I think some people would certainly say that. Every single change they made last year was understandable and justifiable. For example, when Huke came on the market, and, even, the benching of Slasher was a bit of a surprise, but, it was online play, and, maybe he hadn't been playing his best, and there's all sorts of other things that might be going on. But I think certainly people thought last year they made too many moves. I think they thought internally, whatever team they formed, I think Jacob might have said this, every single time they made a roster change and formed a new team, whenever they played FaZe, they still got bodied, and they were like, okay, we can't be FaZe, we can't be number 1, let's change around our team. This year, it almost seems like they're settling for less, in the sense that, they haven't really made any moves yet at all. They haven't made any moves, of course, and, most people actually say right now, we look to the coaches' rankings on who they think should make a change. Minnesota Rokkr were number 1, Thieves were number 2, and New York were number 3, right? So, okay, 1 and 3 seem to be making moves, and at Los Angeles Thieves, of course, not doing that as of yet. But if the SMG Kenny thing doesn't work out, what is the future for this roster? Because Octane certainly has been the player so far this year, especially compared to expectations, that's probably been underperforming quite significantly. And 3-time world champion Karma, of course, did team with Octane rather briefly back in Modern Warfare, right on Seattle Surge. Obviously a completely shambolic situation, and Karma ended up retiring after just a few months of that season. But he lets his thoughts be known on Octane, the fact that, there's no bad blood between, him and Octane after, I guess, the situation that went down there. But also, if you even think back to World War II, right, the World War II optics situation, when, Karma effectively got benched from the team, and Octane and Methods came into the roster for the end of the year. Not to all that much success, but this is what Karma has to say on Octane. Good player, but his Search and Destroy definitely isn't up to standards.
I had no animosity towards Sam, because, he was saying how he felt, and I respect that. And I said how I felt. And that's all that was. It was yeah. It's hard to get on and give a f when... if we all truly gave a f, we wouldn't be having this same issue. That's just the way it is. Like I said, I was grown up enough at that point that I had no bad feelings towards Sam. He's still a good dude. I still think he's struggling, but I still think he can be a really good player. He sucks at Search, but still.
So just to look real quick at some of the history between Karma and Octane. Of course, they did team, well, they didn't actually team, but this is back in the Optic Gaming days in World War II, when Karma effectively got benched and Octane and Methods came into the roster. And then, of course, in Modern Warfare, Karma and Octane did team together briefly on Seattle Surge before, Karma basically just decided, give up the ghost, I'm going to retire in about May that year, because, the team was in a completely shambolic state, of course. And throughout most of Octane's career, a lot of the talk has been, okay, this guy's unbelievable in the respawns, but in Search and Destroy, he certainly leaves something to be desired. This year was always quite interesting that actually it's almost the other way around. Last year as well, to a degree, Octane was certainly much better in search last year than he had been in most of his career, which is obviously a good sign. But if anything, his respawn kind of fell off, right? If you look back at a few years ago, like Black Ops 4, for example, he was an absolute demon in the respawns, but often in search and destroy, like, he wouldn't be performing all that well. This year, his best game mode pretty much is search. Like, of course, this is the overall season, 0.98 in search, 0.93 in hardpoint, 0.90 in control. Like, I'm sure if you kind of filter by particular games they've won or lost, probably as of late, his search and destroy has been significantly above where his other game modes are, which is quite interesting, right? Because, as Karma says, he's not great in search, but he's still performing in better that game mode than he is in the other ones right now. If you look at the Lion Man cards as well, just in terms of, you know, pure S&D kills per round or KD, like, I mean, stage 2 is pretty woeful for Octane, a 0.8 in hardpoint, a 0.87 in control, and then a 1.1 effectively in search and destroy. So kind of interesting how that works out, right? How it's almost like his search and destroy has improved, but at the cost of his other game modes kind of falling off the pace a little bit. Karma still has faith he can turn it around, of course, but it's kind of tough to say, right? Because you look at Octane in this game so far, like a lot of the time he hasn't looked particularly comfortable on the map. I honestly thought in the early part of this game, him with the sniper rifle was probably the most deadly sniper rifle player in the entire game. Like, when he pulled it out early on, the kickoff classic and stuff like this, start of stage 1, he looked like the most efficient player with the sniper. So I think he can be very proficient in that role, but you know, just with the actual also, doesn't really seem to be working out too well for him, apart from in search and destroy, who's actually been alright. So if Karma's right about the fact that his search and destroy isn't great and it starts to fall off, then, like, you know, what does that mean for the respawns and the rest of this team? Because if this team fails with Kenny on the SMG now and Drazah on the flex, then you know, there simply is no other option than to blow it up, to be honest. It does indeed seem. Let's talk about the other side of things then. So we've talked about some of the, you know, worst performing players throughout the entirety of stage 2. These numbers aren't particularly good. Let's talk about the best. Lots of questions and discussions the last few days. Who is the best player in this game at the present time? Shotzzy thought these stats are really cool, and also this, like, graphic is absolutely fantastic. I don't know who made this actually. It said COD Muse in the top right hand side, but anyway, Shotzzy's career, 17 tournaments he's played, 14 top 3 placements. That's pretty absurd. Of course, the Dallas Empire team, especially in Modern Warfare, they're like, they almost always, I'm pretty sure they made every single, like, championship Sunday, right? So they came top 3, top 4 every single event, so I guess that's included here. Like, technically, those were top 4s, I guess, some of them, but it was kind of 3rd through 4th, but I'm not really sure. Maybe that's counted, maybe that's not. KD at 1.07, which is remarkable for his role, and yeah, pretty much 2-to-1 a ratio of series win to loss. That's pretty absurd, and 5 event wins as well, including, of course, the World Championship, Mickey Mouse ring, whatever you want to call it. But Shotzzy this year, like, the start of the year, I think he didn't really have, like, he had a pretty good start compared to, well, other players in the league, of course, but compared to guys like Dashy, like, he was probably, well, performing a little bit better than Shotzzy, to be honest, especially actually at the stage 1 major. Like, I think there was a fair bit of talk, can't believe he got turned right here, that, you know, Shotzzy had some inconsistencies, right? There was a few maps he played at the stage 1 major where, like, he didn't really take over, didn't have a great map, like, went double negative at times, and that was a big talking point going into stage 2. They're like, look, if Shotzzy can wrap up some of those inconsistencies, and, like, not only still have the takeover maps, but also make sure that he's not going double negative, like, every so often, then he's going to be the best player in the game. That's pretty much what he did in stage 2, and that's the thing, like, to me, if you look at Shotzzy compared to the other players in Shotzzy's role, like the aggro SMG guy making the space, there's really no one who even comes close to him in that role, right? And that's why, to me, I think Shotzzy probably is the best player in the game right now. Certainly the hardest to deal with, certainly the hardest to play against, like, at least I would say. I mean, Cellium's right up there. We'll see what Temp says on that too in just a couple of seconds. But that's what the coaches voted. They went down this route to Shotzzy, clearly the best SMG, they reckon. Scumpabo as well. And then, well, best players in the game, Shotzzy, Cellium, Dashy was the 1, 2, 3. Now, well, people certainly have debated this. Zoomer and Temp had a kind of a back and forth on it a couple of days ago, where Temp effectively said, look, based on the way Shotzzy plays, and well, what the next few COD games might be, this guy's going to be untouchable for many years to come, and is going to be comfortably a top 3 player every single game he plays for, like, now on out effectively. But Cellium, he reckons right now, might still be the best player in the game. Like, Cellium and Dashy kind of both in that main assault rifle role right now, with Arcitys now technically going to the SMG, or like the 3rd SMG, right? Like at the flex player, I guess, on Atlanta FaZe. Is Cellium number 1, or does Shotzzy take the cake?
You know who else is locked? This guy. You see the way Shotzzy's moving right now? This guy's locked.
Listen, I think in all these squad spawn, like in the way this system is, like I think the next game is gonna be like it too. I think Ant's just guaranteed top 3 like player in the world.
So?
He just has it down. Like he just has it down, you know?
Yeah. What you saying, Shotzzy?
Yeah, he just has it. Like he just has it down.
100%.
Like,
I've been saying it, bro. I was saying it the other day. I think he's the best player in the game right now.
he just got to a T, bro.
What do you think?
Yeah.
You think he's the best player in the game? Because I think he is.
I'm gonna go front again.
Everything revolves around him.
Lose whatever answer I give. Like it's a lose. Like I gotta get.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is
I
it a
want to
lose
give
lose?
it to MC, bro. I want to give it to MC.
Yeah, I mean, MC's a good
But if
argument.
I say MC, it's just like everyone hates FaZe now. Don, you know.
Yeah, well, MC's a good argument, but I definitely think the role that Shotzzy runs is everything revolves around him.
So the stats for all these players obviously are absolutely absurd. I think to me the top three of Shotzzy, Cell, and Dashy in some order or another is certainly probably the top three players in the game. These are Cell stats for the year, like absolutely ridiculous. His hard point is a 1.27, his search and destroy 1.30. In fairness though, like it's almost weighted quite nicely because at the start of the season, you guys might remember, Cell for his first 5 or 6 search and destroy maps he plays, maybe his first 5 series that he plays, he had a 2.67 or 2.68, basically a 2.7 KD in search for the first couple of weeks. Absolutely ridiculous. Like his controller's also been very good, damage per 10 minutes rather low, but like still, he's doing it all, so hard to deal with. And that was the thing coming into this year for FaZe, who was going to be the MVP. You know, Simp, aBeZy, they were obviously right up there last year. Cell wasn't so far behind them, but this year Cell is clearly leading the race, I think, for the MVP for that FaZe squads, which is impressive given how some other main assault rifles have kind of struggled in this game so far. But Cellium definitely not in that category. As with Dashy, of course, this is Shotzzy's stats. He gets a slightly better overall, I think, just compared to some of the other SMGs in this category. These stats are equally absurd, and the thing I really like, especially in hardpoint and surge, is how high these kills per 10 minutes and damage per 10 minutes stats are, right? Like, he's pretty much up there with the best in the entire league in terms of, like, kills per round in surge, damage per rounds. Like, I mean, 101 damage per round is pretty incredible. This guy just does so much and plays at an absolutely absurd pace that no one in the league can even match, to be honest. And he's also so good at playing his life as well. Like, you'll often find he maybe gets weak a little bit. He's going to dive behind cover, has the movement to do it. But, like, he'll play his life better than a lot of other players in his position, I think, do, which definitely helps him continue to help his teammates and stuff after, well, the gunfight has gone down. And these are Dashy's stats as well. Really, it's his control that's the standout, right? On Tuscan control, we know he's an absolute beast and a force to be reckoned with. But again, 1.31 in control this year. We'll have to see how that fares on of course, Berlin control, right, which is coming in, because we know that Dashy on Tuscan, especially on the defense, over towards that B point, is very difficult to deal with indeed. Like with Berlin coming through, will that favor Optic, will it not? I guess we shall find out. So definitely intrigued to get thoughts on all that stuff in the comment section below. Just wanted to finish up with a couple of things here from none other than Douglas sent to Martin, as Season 2 is finished, right? The new patch update comes through for Season 3, and he finishes at number 1 worldwide. So congratulations, Doug. Gets all the way up to almost 7,000 SR. So you got to credit it, really, because the chain guy, right, who finishes top 4 right here in the end, got demoted, but he was almost at like 7,000. And like I was wondering, hey, will Doug ever actually catch that guy, right? Because I mean, 7,000 seems like an awful lot of skill rating to get. But here he is, number 1 position all the way at the end of the day. So fair play. All this talk, Shotzzy, Cellium, Dashy, all this type of stuff. It's Doug sent to Martin, who's the greatest in the world. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button. Tell us your YouTube gods. This is a good video. I was like you should see it as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.
Yeah, I think I pinch.
All good.
Like a deep red.
One's bottom.
Rotate.
Radio. Going fire right now.
Fire. One shot dead. Top church. Oh.
Mark.
No.
Bullet.
Oh my god, did I just do that? Did I actually just do that?
I'm in mid right now, no bullshit.
We top fire?
Too old.
Wow.
I have their side.
Top fire.